Welcome to the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
What's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast, the final preview episode, mercifully. Thank God. No more games to talk about after this one, so we're going to break down Browns and Ravens to wrap up the 2024 garbage season. Josh All, Justin Charles, and Kenny Mack coming to you guys today. Blake's doing some family stuff, so he's not here. But, you know, we're rocking our own little injury report, if you will, like the Browns are. We'll dive into that, who's in, who's out. We'll talk about some Pro Bowl stuff. We'll talk about our new starting quarterback. And, according to Barry Shuck, the newest record that the Cleveland Browns will set on Saturday. It's a doozy. So
I know. I think I know it.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people probably can figure out.
You give me an over under on guesses. Give me one, bro, and I'm nailing it. I think. Give me 0.5. I'm going over. Give me that one. Just give me one guess, bro.
Yeah, I believe it. I definitely believe it. So make sure you guys, if you're watching on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the channel, tap the notification bell so you don't miss anything new. After this crappy POS season is over and done with, and we do our final reaction show next week, we're diving into prospect stuff because the Browns are going to have a top 3 pick, and we got a lot of prospects to break down because it's not, do they go quarterback? Do they take best player available? Do they trade back? Is it a lineman? Is it a defensive player? We're going to break all that stuff down over the coming months, so make sure you tap the notification bell. Stay tuned in with us. Follow us on all the socials at The Dawgs Podcast, and if you want more content exclusively for the Dog Pack community, head to jointhedawgs.com. Become an official Dog Pack member on the Patreon page. It gets you access to the private Discord. It gets you are able to play in the fantasy football leagues with us, which, as a side note here, I did want to throw some shout outs to everybody who participated in fantasy football this year. Thank you so much. The championship games just wrapped up this past week in the Blake tricks. So that's the one that Blake runs. Blake barely squeaked by Adam by 2 points for the championship. So we got one dog bringing home a ship. And then in Josh's Justice League, I took down Nick for the championship by 54 points. So there's another one for the Dogs. And then in the Empire, which is the other league that I ran, I beat Greg for the championship by 47. Jeez. So that's 2 for me, 1 for Blake, and none for you guys, unfortunately.
Hey, hold on. All I've been doing is holding this damn thing down for the last few years, waiting for you guys to get on board on the winning train with me. All I did was hold it down, and every year I'm glad. I need it. I need a little backing from my men here.
Well, you got it this year, and I just had to get by Andy Kaiser for once. Like every year, this guy beats me in the league. Last year was in the championship. Like I can't get past him. This year, got past him finally. He was texting me the other day and said, I can't wait to rematch it again next year. The fantasy leagues are so much fun. So if you're interested in playing next year, head to jointhedawgs.com. I want to shout out in your league, Justin, Deshaun of the Dead. You might want to change the name next year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're definitely changing that name, bro.
So you got destroyed in the semis by Evan, who went on to get smoked by Gage Tucker in the championship. He had the highest score of all of our championship matchups. He had 192. So big game by Gage Tucker.
We got some big dogs over here. Big dogs in my league. A bunch of just, pit bulls out here.
That's right, man. And then last but not least, Kenny Mack's dog attack. Kenny got beat in the semis by Chilo Mack. And I think last year he was the real Mack, if I'm not mistaken. And then he went on to lose in the championship to Jasia, who I believe is now a 2-time back-to-back dog pack champion. So shout out, congratulations to all of you guys for winning the championships, and also congrats to everybody who made the playoffs in our dog pack leagues, because fantasy football it's a fun game to play, but making the playoffs is never a guarantee. It's difficult to do. You got people who really know what they're doing, and you got people who have less experience, and it's just a ton of fun to see how everything goes. And we also have 2 dynasty leagues that we play in the dog pack. So shout out to freaking Natus the Greatest. He won the championship in both of the dog pack dynasty leagues. He beat Evan in a very close matchup in the original dynasty league. And then he beat Aaron and Brad Moneymaker's Chubb Club League to bring home 2-time dynasty league championships this year.
Wow.
Crazy stuff.
Crazy.
Not surprised.
He's
not
got good squads.
At all.
Good squads.
Not surprised. Yep. He was there with me last year in the championship in that league. He's a dog.
Absolutely.
He knows what he's doing.
Those dynasty leagues, like we started one each of the last 2 years. I have no idea if there will be a third one that gets started up, but if you're interested in more fantasy football than just the redraft stuff, Dynasty Fantasy Football goes all year round. You're in there picking up players, making trades, doing all kinds of things throughout the winter and the spring and everything. So get into the dog pack if you're interested in meeting these people and being available if another league does get created and you can put your name in to be in the next Dynasty League if it gets created. Or you can say, hey, I want to fill in if somebody leaves or, whatever the case may be. So jointhedogs.com, get in on all the action, and we'll be letting you guys know when fantasy signups are coming next summer. Cannot wait. So 2025, we got one game to play to wrap up the 2024 season, and it's against the Ravens, 11-5, and the Browns are rocking that solid 3-13. Somehow we came out and surprised the Ravens. Week 8 at home in Cleveland. Jameis Winston's first start. Just torched them. Got pretty lucky, actually, because he had like 3 or 4 passes that should have been picked. But we won. We ended up beating the Ravens. And I do not believe in any alternate reality universe situation you can come up with that it can possibly happen again this week. What do you guys think?
No, man, I don't know. With Bailey Zappe coming in, I mean, he's kind of rocking the same stats that really Jameis Winston has just this year. You're looking about even Steven with interceptions versus touchdowns.
Wait. Did you say touchdowns? Plural?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's an upgrade from DTR.
So there might be something there, right? Ultimately, I don't know if DTR gets into this game maybe and he gets a little bit of wildcat action. I don't want to see it, but I don't know if there's going to be a wrinkle or do something anything at this point. I know when I'm with my backers club, we're basically in a golf simulator. So I take one of the golf simulator clubs and I start poking the screen. So anything, please just do anything different. And you know what? Just do it for the defense because they're actually playing their hearts out. They're hitting people. As poor as this year has been, there's been some big hits by that defense. Now they've given up a lot and some big plays. Sure, they have. But there's still some give a damn factor in them. So throw some points on the board for them, guys. Come on. Field goals too. Let's just throw it in there.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Honestly, this is kind of refreshing to me because like based on what I've seen, I don't see Jameis being on this roster next year. Based on what I've seen with DTR, I know he's going to be third year guy, but to me, I think we see that there's not something moving forward. We can't even use him a game or two.
You don't bench him if you're planning to have him on the team next year. You keep trying to get him more experience.
Yep. So for me, it's refreshing. Obviously I'm kind of with you. This is a tough matchup, for Bailey Zappe just to jump into, but I'm kind of looking for something different. I've been looking for something all year, and I've been told, we're going to play the best players available. And to me, this is a sign, hey, there's still some fight. I know it's bad. And technically we don't have fight, we're a 3-win team, but like Kenny said, defense is still showing up. And then it's got to be super frustrating to just, get a stop or a hold or a turnover. And then it's 3 and out and it's a 3-22, it's frustrating to watch as fans. So to me, this is kind of like, hey, let's see what we have here. If Bailey Zappe shows any life or any kind of resemblance of a starting quarterback or even a guy that can come in and spot you a game or two, this is a guy I think that you roll forward into next year with possibly. And I'm saying maybe he's like QB3, but like I'm begging for answers in the quarterback room.
I know. And
I need them. And I don't know if any of those guys are going to be back next year. Obviously, Watson's contract is restructured, but.
So let me put your mind at ease here about, these quarterbacks going into next year. No, and no. Jameis isn't coming back. DTR is not coming back. Bailey Zappe ain't coming back. There is nothing that we could possibly see on Saturday from Bailey Zappe that's going to say, hey, maybe this is a guy to keep around next year. We're playing the freaking Baltimore Ravens in a standalone game. It's not like Bailey Zappe, hey, we're going to give you the next like 3 games to kind of see. This is the only game he's going to get any action in. It's against the best team in the AFC. And, well, I'd say they're probably better than the Chiefs because the Chiefs have gotten very lucky record-wise. But the Ravens, they have to win this game to take the North. They win this game, they get the North, they get the 3rd seed, and we're on an island game. We're the first game of the weekend on Saturday. It's AFC North Saturday, and then it's the Steelers-Bengals after us. But so the Ravens don't know what's going on with the Steelers. They have to win this game. They're going to destroy us. They're favored by, what would you say, Kenny? The line moved. Now it's 20 points. They're 20-point favorites since we decided to start Bailey Zappe. We have seen, there's only been one quarterback that's looked even a little bit decent in Ken Dorsey's offense this year, and it was Jameis Winston. Watson looked terrible. DTR looked horrendous. Bailey Zappe is going to look like a scared chicken waiting to get its head cut off. It's going to be bad. And I think we just need to understand that going in. I get what you're saying about being desperate for the quarterback situation, but it ain't Bailey Zappe. He shouldn't even be on the practice squad. Neither should DTR, and they probably won't be next year. And, those are just the guys that we're rolling out there. And so the stat that I alluded to, the record at the beginning of the show, talked to Barry Shuck. He actually gave me a phone call out of the blue today to congratulate me on the birth of my son. And I said, hey, you're about 30 days early, Barry. He said, wait, I wrote it down a month earlier.
I was about to say, I'm like, dude, you didn't even tell me, bro. What is going on?
Yeah, I was like, whoa, what's going on?
He said, wasn't it December 30th? I said, January 30th. But thanks, Barry. Okay. I appreciate the phone call. But he said, hey, do you know what? The Browns have a chance to set a record on Saturday. I said, oh, Lord, what freaking record could this be? There's no way it's anything good. And he said, so the record for the most quarterbacks started in a single season was 5. I said, hey, that's us. We did that last year. Pretty cool. He said, yeah, if this is before the announcement, he said, if they start Bailey Zappe on Saturday, we will have the record for the most quarterbacks started in a 2-year span with 9.
Ooh, wow. I didn't. So that was not what I thought it was going to be.
9 quarterbacks in the last 2 seasons. And we have $230 million guaranteed to a guy who's supposed to be our starter.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. Yeah. Blows my mind. What did you think?
This
tough, man.
Yeah. The stat I saw was it is quarterback number 40.
Ooh, okay.
Number 40 on the jersey. That's the one I saw. That's what I thought you were going with, was the big 4-0. And I was just like, listen, bro, we know we stink.
That's what I thought too, man. When we were discussing what we might say on this, I thought for sure it was going to be the 40.
The 40,
as well. Yeah. And I wanted to touch on one thing that Josh said that was kind of weird to me, is that the quarterback that was the guy that performed the best was the guy that didn't want to be in that offense. And I think Josh posted something earlier today where there was maybe an unconfirmed source. I was just running through my scrolls on Facebook, and apparently Winston wanted to come here and run a Stefanski style offense, something that suited, he thought at the time, his skill set the best. And he ends up being the best quarterback in Dorsey's offense, which is bizarre.
Yeah, that was based on an article on ESPN by, I forget, Daniel, how do you say his last name? Olufisi?
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
Right. Yeah.
And another guy wrote this article, and part of it.
Jeremy Fowler.
Yeah, that's who it was.
Jeremy Fowler.
Yeah, Jeremy Fowler.
I read it, yeah.
Yeah, and I got to the part about, Jameis Winston signed with Cleveland anticipating to run the Kevin Stefanski offense, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, hold on a second. He signed in March, and we hired Dorsey back in early February. We already knew we were running this whole new offense out there, so that didn't make any sense to me whatsoever, because why would he sign thinking, hey, I'm going to run Kevin's offense when everybody already knew we're not running that anymore? So I don't know. Yeah, like you said, unconfirmed source. Not sure if whoever they talked to knew what they were talking about, but that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
No, and I don't know what you guys are going to expect, because, I mean, we're talking a lot about quarterback, because, I mean, obviously that's a hot button topic, but what's going to happen at running back, boys? We don't have Ford. We don't have Chubb.
We got our guy back.
Wild.
We got John Kelly is back.
Oh, I saw Kelly's back, so maybe he'll bring a 4.1 yard average. No, probably not. Just kidding. But the one thing that I did see against the Dolphins, I was talking about with my buddy today, it was nice to see Foreman go straight through the hole. No dancing, no nothing. I don't know. It's not going to get us what we want. However, hit the hole, hit it hard. Just hold on the ball at the 1 yard line, man, please.
Yeah, man. The whole Foreman thing this whole year, I was very excited whenever we signed him in the offseason. I thought this is he's not your lean on like total bell cow, do it all back, but a bruiser that can kind of fill in like what Kareem Hunt was doing while Nick Chubb's trying to come back. I thought, great, this will be a great guy to offset Jerome Ford. Nah, Browns are like, we're not even going to run the ball anyway. Screw it. Okay, whatever. You guys are a bunch of freaking idiots, but Jerome Ford will be out with an ankle. Pierre Strong out with a concussion. So yeah, it's going to be Foreman and John Kelly. So, I mean, I expect 0 out of our running game the way I have all year, maybe even a little less now. Let's see. Jordan Hicks will also be out with a concussion. David Njoku is done with a knee injury, so no more Njoku, even though we'll get to the Pro Bowl stuff and who should and shouldn't have been there. But Pierre Strong, like I said, out. Denzel Ward, shoulder, out. And then we've got, let's see, Michael Woods, questionable with a knee. Blake Whiteheart, whoop-de-doo, knee. Cameron Mitchell and Obo, both questionable with all knee injuries. Okay,
all right. Cool. You got Mike Woods too, right?
Yes, sir.
I might have missed that. Okay. Yeah, I mean, what are we doing here, guys? I feel like I just flashed back to 2014 where we're clearing the bench and like Charlie, somebody, the quarterback's coming off, shaking hands and meeting everybody for the first time on the offensive line when he gets out there. And I would just personally hope that we would never be in this situation again. But this is like the season that never was, I don't know where we're going, what we're doing. And people say, this season was a wash. And I was like, dude, it was just a never was. Whenever we're there, starting when the season ended last year.
No, I agree. Yeah. I agree. I don't think any of us could have pinned it like this.
No way.
You know what I mean? Like, not in my worst nightmare would I have pictured this for the season. I thought talent wise, I thought we were better than we were roster wise last year. I thought, at least on paper, and I was wrong. I was badly wrong.
Well, and we were supposed to be better talent wise, and we were supposed to be healthier. We were getting guys back who were out last year and all that kind of stuff. I still think all the coaching changes made a huge decline impact on this offense. Getting rid of Alex Van Pelt, from what all I've read about that whole situation, is that he was the glue, is what I keep seeing it referred to, the glue, like holding that offensive unit together more than people understood. And he was in lockstep with Kevin Stefanski and his offensive mindset. Bill Callahan helped all that too. I mean, we lost so many guys and we hired a bunch of buffoons, I think. At least Ken Dorsey is an absolute moron. This episode is brought to you by Baden Sports. Browns fans, Baden Sports is your one-stop shop for all your athletic gear. Baden started out perfecting and manufacturing the best balls in the business. Yeah, if that sounded dirty, that's more about your mind than my words. But hey, it's true. Baseballs, softballs, footballs, basketballs, volleyballs, soccer balls, you name it, and Baden has engineered the highest standard sports balls available. And now they offer more than just sports balls. If you got kids playing baseball or softball, Baden has batting gloves and bats to go along with both game balls and training balls. If you're into basketball, Baden makes basketball specifically for indoor or outdoor use. Heck, Baden even has all the equipment you need for pickleball, which is one sport that I hear everyone is playing, and yet I still never have. And I need to fix that soon. But don't miss the backyard games section of Baden's website, where you can order everything you need for this upcoming outdoor season. Pool balls, backyard volleyball nets, croquet, bocce, horseshoes, cornhole, and more. Right now, you can get 10% off your entire order at Baden Sports, BADEN sports.com/dogs, DAWGS, and use promo code DOGS when you check out. That's 10% off all the top quality sporting gear you need this season. BadenSports.com/dogs. I listen to a lot of like fantasy football podcasts and stuff just to kind of get that perspective of the NFL and to understand what's going on with a lot of the different teams as well. And when they get to, I was listening to one today and they were talking about the Browns and Ravens game. And I couldn't agree more. They were saying that typically when you got a divisional game to end the season and one of the teams needs to win to lock up the division, that's a game you want to make sure you get your fantasy players from that team, the Ravens, in your game and all that stuff. And they were like, you might not want to play all your Ravens this week because they're only going to probably play a half. They're going to blow Cleveland out in the first half. And I don't know if we even score. Honestly, we managed 3 points last week against Miami. Come on, 6 points a week earlier.
Yep.
Well,
if you take a look at the Ravens, I mean, you want to see them at the end of the year when you have something on the line. But if I'm playing on defense and I'm already down Jordan Hicks, I'm down a bunch of guys, Denzel Ward, and I've got King Henry coming like just blazing at me, it's going to be a long damn day on defense. And you better hope our defensive line can hold something up, because if you're going to be pounding heads with that guy, man, oh man, he's going to go for 200 yards based on the way that our guys are right now, with nothing on the line.
Yeah. Tough game, period. Just roster to roster, not records involved at all. You just throw it on the sheet. It's a tough game. It's a even worse, just lower expectation game when you have all these guys missing. We're starting our fourth quarterback of the year. It's just, I mean, Josh kind of said it at the beginning. Let's just get this over with. Yeah. Let's just move on. You know what I mean? And it sucks. There's nothing that I like more than shooting the shit about the Browns. I've never been lower than I have been this year on the Browns, just as far as from just top to bottom. I don't know the direction. I don't know the identity of our offense. I don't even know. I think, the defense is a strong point for this, moving forward, but then I don't even know who's going to be on the defense. They roll a PowerPoint presentation out to Miles here in a couple of weeks, and I don't know if he's going to like what he's seeing. And, and then where do we go from there? It sounds like a rebuild. You have your best player saying, I'm not sure. I'd be interested in seeing what, as a team organizationally, we're doing next year. That is alarming.
I know you've been saying
that's alarming when players are saying that. As a fan base, we should be absolutely crapping ourselves.
You've been saying that for a couple weeks too. And yeah,
no, there's no panic. It's just literally like, yeah, well, we're going into next year. We're going to restructure this guy's contract because we're so handicapped right now as far as financially that we have to do that. And then I don't know. We don't have an identity. We don't have a run game. We look a lot older. I don't think we've won the line of scrimmage all year as far as on offense against anyone. It's just tough.
No, man.
A lot of.
I remember watching the All 22 back in the week 1 when we got demolished by the Cowboys, and Blake was saying,
Shelby Harris.
Shelby Harris, Mo Hurst, they're 5 yards in the defensive, backwards. Like, we're all getting blown off the line of scrimmage on both sides. We're a soft team. And Justin, we were at training camp. We've mentioned this so many times on the show. Soft practices. Yeah. It's just, it was a weird vibe up there. Not like what I've seen in years past. And it just felt like, what are we really doing here? Nobody's really hitting. There was no full go. And I just feel like that's how they practice. That's how they play. They play soft.
It's fair.
Yeah, that's what I get back. It's like they took the whole damn year off, man.
Yeah.
I got the exact same feeling from training camp. And to even go back farther, you want to get your offense rolling. You have Deshaun Watson, who injured his shoulder. You have your top receiver in Cooper. You've got even Judy with a soft tissue. Nobody was at camp. You had a bunch of third string guys running all the time that didn't understand an offense. And what did we say all during preseason? Well, we keep throwing to the running backs and we keep throwing to the tight ends. It was just a gripe of mine specifically.
Yes.
But you generally do that in preseason when you don't know where to go with the ball. And even if they did or whatever it was, when your receivers don't get a lot of play, that super translated into the season because we didn't have a running game. So they had to be up to date where they were going. And it looked like Cooper 100% wasn't on the same page. He wasn't on the same page offensively with the team, and that's why he was out of here. And the offense just never, ever, ever looked good, and we were behind from the get-go. And Blake, everybody said it after the Dallas game. If we play like this, we'll be lucky if we win a game. And we were lucky we did.
Yeah. Every time that I look at the box score after a game and I see that a tight end or a running back was the first or second highest leading receiver on the team. And I want to go back at the end of the season and see how many games that was the case. But every time I see that, I always think of you, Kenny, because you were hot on that in the preseason saying, hey, this might be a red flag type of thing. All we're doing is throwing to our tight ends every play. And that's exactly what translated through the season. The only time we got wide receivers involved was with Jameis. Nobody else knew what the hell they were doing. I can't read the defense, don't understand I don't know what the problem is, but it was all a mess. And we got one game, and then it's over. And hopefully it's over for good, because I don't want to watch this garbage again next year.
I think we all hope too, like, obviously we were missing all those guys receiver wise, like you were saying. I think we just kind of expected that it would just come together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I remember like week 3 and stuff like that, just being like, well, eventually this is going to click, right? Like we're not going to have to watch this all year like this, right? We're getting, blown out at home by the Giants, who are, literally we're holding the number 1 pick until last week.
Yeah.
It's rough. And you look at the teams that like were with us or ahead of us, I know the draft order changes a lot, but these are teams that beat us. Like,
Raiders.
A lot of the crappy teams that are drafting either ahead of us or right around us, they beat us.
We barely beat the Jags.
Jacksonville is the team we got by, and it literally was a dropped Hail Mary in the rain. That's the difference between winning and losing to a crap team.
Yeah, and I found that just the give a damn factor was so prevalent in the teams that beat us. Like they were just looked tougher, they looked better, and all we did against the Raiders, all we did against the Giants, even Philadelphia, we just shot ourselves in the foot repeatedly. And what that tells me, with all these procedure penalties, with all the miscues and not being in the right spot when the ball comes and the drops, you're just not bought in. You're not bought in, and the only silver lining for me is the Washington Commanders. And why am I talking to them right now? Because they literally went from worst to first. They got the right pick in the quarterback. And I think Blake was really nailing this last episode. He said, if you're going to take one of these guys, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is, put something around them that they understand. Yep. So if you're going to, one of these guys got to be good with Stefanski. If you're sticking with Stefanski, they got to be able to run this offense. But then you need somebody like Joe Flacco back to the offensive line, can execute a great play fake, read 2, 3, 4 options, and then get down the field. And that's what made Stefanski look good. Unfortunately, other than Baker could do a pretty good ball fake as well, and he had about 8 really good games. We haven't had anybody here like that for him, No, we haven't. The quarterback position just continues to elude the Cleveland Browns so well. And it's just
my whole life.
Yep. Forever.
Well, isn't it kind of funny? Like if you take a look back, and if you just want to go like in the 10-year span, you go back when we got Hugh Jackson. What did we do? We traded back, or we didn't trade back. So we got Myles Garrett, which is a great pick. And then after that, we kept trading back. We could have had Deshaun. We could have had Mahomes. But I find when you get a new coach and you don't get the quarterback the first year, it just doesn't go right. And you get Baker the next year, and then Hugh's a lame duck, and you get him Todd Haley, and then that all backfires, and then Greg Williams is in with Freddie Kitchens, and Freddie Kitchens is like, oh guys, I'm going to listen to you, I'm going to play whatever plays you want to play. And then he becomes a head coach and does some wild Ken Dorsey offense before Ken Dorsey even existed with his offense. You know what I mean? And then it goes back to Kevin, who was ultimately hired to save Baker, which he couldn't. And it's just this like never-ending cycle. It's almost like what you want to do is you just want to cut bait with everybody. And I hate to say trade Miles and trade everybody because I don't like being that guy. But maybe the fresh start's where you go with this. You know what I mean? And you just get a coach and you say, this is the quarterback that I want that can do this for this offense. You get the right offensive coordinator and just go. Just like the Lions did. They got their guy, but they didn't draft him. They got Jared Goff.
Yeah, that's very true. And I was thinking about Jared Goff as you were talking, because I'm thinking, are there any quarterbacks out there that we could trade for that are on contracts with teams that might be looking to move on or do something? We're just in such a crappy spot. I mean, the names that keep getting thrown around for next year, and I think we're kind of transitioning away from obviously the game talk, because we're going to lose the Ravens. Doesn't really matter. We need to at this point. We got to secure that top 3 pick. But we're getting to the point where it's like Justin Fields, Kirk Cousins, and And then I keep seeing people throwing Jameis's name on the list of potential. I'm like, Jameis is not coming back. That's over. That book is closed. The DTR book is closed. We're in a spot where we really could be taking one of these two guys, whether it's Shador or Cam Ward. And again, we haven't started our draft prospect, prep and diving and study and all that stuff. But once we do, we'll probably formulate stronger opinions on these guys. But I don't know at the moment, either of those two, I talked with Blake about it on Monday, I think it was. Either of those two guys, tickle your guys' fancy?
No, I think this quarterback class is super weak. Like ultimately what I'm looking at are guys that aren't even in the top 10 rated. Like there's 20 other players ahead of Cam Ward just on Pro Football Focus. And I'm not saying they're the end all to be all, but then you got Shador Sanders, that's not even rated in the first round, but he's a quarterback and he'll go in the top 10. For me, doing a lot of work on that other than just that and what I've seen, I don't know much. I don't know if I buy into the Cam Ward, like he quit on the team. That seems to be a little bit more speculation and what's the word that I'm looking for? I don't know what I'm looking for.
Well, let me just chime in on that.
Hyperbole or whatever.
Yeah, real quick. So I was reading some stuff on that because I saw it all over social media. Oh, Cam Ward quit on his team. He said he wasn't going to play in the second half, blah, blah, blah. I thought, how true is that? Because how this stuff gets blown out of proportion. And I was reading that Miami's coaching staff had already, that was the game plan coming in. They were basically said, you're going to get the first half, try to get that record over Case Keenum. And then the second half, we want our quarterback who's going to be the guy next year. We're ready to get him in a game and get some experience. So that seemed to have been the plan. I don't think that was a Cam Ward went to the locker room at halftime and said, I'm done. Peace out, guys. I think that was the team's approach to that game.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. I mean, that's sour grapes for the guys that don't like the guys that are sitting currently during the bowl situations, right?
Right.
And that's all that is. And that's just senseless. I can't even say what I want to say, but it's basically just kind of like a snowball effect, and it's just rolling him down the hill with him, unfortunately. But makes way more sense that they wanted to get a guy in some game experience for the next year since he's leaving.
Yeah. No, I guess just, and I know we have a lot of prep work to do. I've watched Cam Ward a little bit. I've watched Shador a little bit. They're all right. But my thing is this is a year where you basically have to be, I don't want to say perfect in the draft, but we've got to hit. We've got to hit some picks.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of holes. So if we don't go quarterback at the beginning, I'm okay. But address some things and lock in some talent.
Yeah.
You've had years with no first round talent, and I know that doesn't translate always. But man, you can get some guys. You can get a Denzel Ward that can shut down a number one receiver. You can get talent like that. But it's tough with quarterback because I feel like as fans, we've just been burned. We almost go into it with just already a predetermined idea in our head that it isn't going to work out. And I tell people all the time, they're like, oh, we could have had Josh Allen. I'm like, Josh Allen wouldn't work in Cleveland.
Mm-mm.
Come on now.
He was.
Or Patrick Mahomes. Guys, come on now. I'm almost 40. Let's not do this. You know what I mean? Those guys are not the same guys if they go and they start with you. You know what I mean? In that sense.
I'm glad you said that because it goes to the point that I talk about all the time. We talked about on Monday. The coaching, the situation matters so much for the development of a quarterback in the NFL. Yeah. Do you think if Baker Mayfield went to a different team with a good foundation, a good coaching staff in place, that his early career would have gone a lot faster than what we saw? I definitely think so. And, Blake has said we were doing it in the text chat today. He said, hey, if we're going back to Kevin Stefanski's offense, then I want Shador. If we're going to do a more Ken Dorsey type of offense, then Cam Ward probably. But I'm going on Draft Buzz here, just looking at their scouting report just for Shador because I was interested. Just the first 3 bullet points. I'm like, okay, well, because their overall evaluation is first round talent who could develop into a franchise quarterback for an organization. The first one, exceptional processor with advanced understanding of defensive concepts, elite accuracy in short and intermediate ranges, and outstanding poise under pressure. Hey, I could use a guy like that.
All those things. We could use that a lot. We could have used that this year.
Yeah. So, as we do more of this draft prep, we'll get a better feel for these guys, these quarterbacks especially. But, if they don't go quarterback, I like Will Campbell, the left tackle from LSU. I know there's Calvin Banks from Texas. I know there's Will good. Johnson, the cornerback from Michigan. I forget the guy's name, the defensive tackle from Michigan. Can't remember his name. I know he's like a top guy. Abdul Carter, the edge rusher from Penn State. There is so much talent. That's why when I keep seeing people say, well, just trade back if you got picked 2 or 3. Well, don't trade back too far because there are some elite level guys at the top of the draft.
Get a Mason Graham.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, Mason Graham, that's it. But get a haul, but don't go back to like 17. Yeah. Drop back to 7.
And get an extra first.
But I don't like to trade back.
You know what I mean?
I like to just take the best guy you got. And if it is a quarterback that's the top guy on your board, then go. Because we know that we could take Abdul Carter and he could be an elite edge rusher like Myles Garrett for the next 8 to 10 years for the Browns. But if we don't have a quarterback, in place, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Yeah. It'll be fun to watch him on defense, but as far as winning goes,
I just want to see confidence. I just want to see confidence in the front office.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's right now, I feel like we're in a period where it's kind of hard to trust. It's hard to trust Andrew Berry. We're not even sure if Andrew Berry is the one making these picks anymore. We don't know if it's DePodesta or if it's Haslam, or we don't know who's running the show.
San Diego Paul.
Yeah, but that's all. I just need to see some confidence, and I think the players need to see that too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a disconnect going on right now where you got guys saying, hey, like, if we're rebuilding here, I'm going to help that out. You can get a 1st round pick for me,
Yeah. Hey, I'm okay with that, man. Yeah. They put their time in it. Miles put his time in it. I'm not saying that I want him to go. What I'm saying is I respect him and I want him to win something. As far as the players are concerned, what that we're looking for, this analytics has got to go. I mean, I know everybody's going to use it. I'm saying as much as we use it, there's a little bit of heart that's not on this team. And I think it's because with the analytics, they basically go for all skill all the time. But like in the AFC North, man, we're letting the AFC North down right now. We don't have the toughest players. We don't. And the reason is because it's guys like Pierre Strong and these guys, they're just not cutting it right now. And I want to shout out to that guy, Cam Scatabo. Man, oh man, he was, or Scataboo, I think it is. Boy, was he ever awesome. And if you watch that guy at running back, he's got to fire you up. First of all, that shoulder pad level to the ground, he is like just a running cannonball, like unreal. And his legs were always mainly at 90 degrees and they were tree trunks. And not only did he rush for a touchdown, he passed for a touchdown. Now, was there a little bit of luck on that pass? Probably, but that guy did what he needed to win. And that's what I need to see on this team, man. Do whatever it takes to win. Because you know what? There's other teams in our division. If that team could only average 14.3 points a game or whatever our average is right now, those teams would say we're only going to let 10 points. And we don't do that. Yep. And that's where it needs to come from, man. We need heart. And for some reason it's missing on this team. I don't know why.
Need some heart, man, and need some nasty. Need a little bit of, make you uncomfortable out there. Yeah, we haven't had a guy like that in a long time.
Yeah.
An enforcer, you know what I mean? At least on that side.
This episode is brought to you by Danger Coffee. Browns fans, we talk about how Danger Coffee is made free from mold toxins that are in 45% of the world's coffee, but that's not all that Danger Coffee has to offer. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies are a big deal. They make you feel sick, tired, stressed, and they can give you brain fog. These deficiencies negatively affect your immune system, your digestion, sleep, metabolism. Have you ever wondered why you get an initial burst from your coffee, but then you get that little crash not long after? Danger Coffee's patent-pending process remineralizes your body with more than 50 trace minerals and electrolytes, leaving you more energized, engaged, powerful. These micronutrients enter the cells to boost performance. They bind to toxins to provide detoxification support. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line, guys, is minerals matter. And most of us really don't get enough of them on a daily basis. Danger Coffee delivers micronutrients. Plus, it gives you access to the minerals you already have. Head to dangercoffee.com, use our code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 10% off your order. And that code can be used over and over. So you get 10% off every order you make using code DAWGS. It's time to start every day off with a cup of coffee that gets you going and actually keeps you going. DangerCoffee.com, code DAWGS. So what you guys are talking about, that stems from having an identity. And our defense has an identity, or at least, the hard hitting, the fly around, hit you with their hats, whatever. Like they're flying around, making plays. That's their identity. Offense has nothing. And so that's why you see no confidence. That's why you see soft play, because they're like, we don't really know what the hell we're doing. We don't know who we are. When we were a power run team and our offensive line was mauling people, that was it, man. That was our identity. We were going to come out there, smack you in the mouth. Nick Chubb was going to pound it down your throat. And then we're going to throw the ball around on top of that.
Yep. And then when Nick Chubb gets tired, we're going to bring Kareem Hunt in and
keep
enjoy
doing
that.
It. Yeah, exactly.
And enjoy that on top of, Nick Chubb.
And that's the biggest thing. I mean, you can say what Mayfield, but he did have heart here, and he was the foundation for a lot of the way that the team was. So was Kareem Hunt big time. I mean, he's going to throw a touchdown in your face and then do 10 push-ups in front of your face. Yep. And he's going to keep coming. And then the next guy, ever since he left.
Yes, go ahead, say it.
Jarvis
freaking Landry, bro.
And you know what he did? He lined everybody up, and we never got a lot of procedure penalties because he put those guys where they were supposed to. Ever since he left, man, it's been just constantly going up and up and up. And it needs to stop.
And I'm not in the locker room, you know what I mean? So I don't know what's going on. And we'll just say like the wide receiver room. When Jarvis Landry was here, there was accountability. Like there wasn't lining up, in the neutral, like on the line of scrimmage as a wide receiver. You didn't have those kind of plays. Like he was extremely accountable for what he wanted to do and what he wanted that room to be like as far as him and the other guys. But obviously injuries caught up to him, health caught up to him, age caught up to him. But I'd love to have a guy like Jarvis Landry just for confidence and just atmosphere in the locker room.
Yeah. Well, one thing I'll say about Baker, though, I mean, I get into a lot of those fights online. Like everyone's like, oh, we made the biggest mistake. Listen, man, we did Baker a favor in trading his ass because he had 1 foot out of the league and he all of a sudden realized, hey, he's got a kid now. He's got support. He actually grew up. And people got to get over it, right? Some people actually do change in life. He did. He was here. The biggest thing that he did, Hard Knocks #1, Hugh Jackson in his face. You don't do enough. #2, when he was here, second year, we had to his wife had to get him a Peloton. Then in the third year, he did all right. Overall, the guy in his last year here, he made a tackle and freaking, kind of bragged about it, and then he held us hostage the entire time. And people forget about the whole Cheesecake Factory. People forget about that he led the league in open 3 receivers at a time with Lamar. It's just Lamar got better. He didn't, and it just took him a while to grow up. But if you put Baker Mayfield alone on this team right now, what's our record? Probably not that great. If you take Baker Mayfield with Mike Evans and all the offense, I'll take that. Yeah, we'd be way better. But it's still the AFC North, boys and girls. He had a hard time beating the Steelers and the Ravens.
Yeah, I know
he had the back-to-back against the Steelers, but still, he lost to Duck Hodges. I would
like to have the Buccaneers run game, for crying out loud. But I keep arguing with people online when they're talking about this. We'll just mention the Baker Mayfield thing real quick because I know topic, but they'll say, oh, well, we never should have traded him. We did him dirty. We should have just kept him here and, played him on the 5th-year option, let him prove himself. And I'm saying to everybody, how many first-round quarterbacks, franchise quarterbacks, because remember at the time, that's what he was. How many guys are number 1 overall pick. How many of those guys, those quarterbacks, are you playing on a 5th-year option and they're not demanding a trade? Or they're not saying, well, I'm going to sit out. They want the contract. It was a contract year. That's why he made sure he was out there playing injured. He's basically said that himself since then in the interviews on the podcast and stuff. And it's like, okay, so you had 2 options if you weren't going to trade him and move on from him. You were either going to pay him $40+ million a year extension coming off of a bad year and an injury, in which fans would say, what are you doing? That's stupid. Or you're going to try to play him on the 5th-year option, tell him you're not getting a contract, and then piss him off and he's going to want out anyway. There was no course of action that led to Baker Mayfield staying with the Browns as far as I remember it.
No, and you got all these guys like Dan Orlovsky, you got Colin Cowherd, and I'm just like, oh, the Browns are so stupid. And like, you guys were all throwing him under the bus. The only guy that gets to say that he didn't is RG3. He's the only dude that said right when he got cut, because I looked it up, he's like, the Browns are going to regret it. And long story short there. But I mean, it drives me nuts with this Baker Mayfield, what did Blake call it, revisionist? Like, everybody forgets. Like, you basically ran him out of town, Cleveland to town. And it's like you said, they didn't do him dirty. It was caught in the numbers game as well. So just realize it. He didn't live up to where he needed to be, and he did some stupid stuff. But good for him for getting better, man.
Yeah.
I don't hate him. And I'm not saying I like Watson. That's not what I mean.
I mean, and Baker, I take nothing away from him. He did what he had to do. He upped his game. He's having a great season, but let's not pretend like, I just looked up, he's still got the third most interceptions in the league this year. So yeah, he still turns the ball over. They're 9-7. They're still fighting for a playoff spot. It's not like they're blowing people out of the water and they're Super Bowl favorites and all this stuff. So I think people just need to chill. I know it's tough to watch, you know, a guy that used to play in your uniform go somewhere else and have success. That sucks. Everybody, I want Kareem Hunt back now. It's like, just, I know it's tough to watch this, but you can't go that route.
I stopped commenting. I just post a picture of like, was it Darnold and Baker together at Carolina, and that's how I answer those posts now, just with a picture. Yeah, there you go. That's what happens. They must hate their lives too. Who knows?
No, I think it's easy for fans to like take the Monday morning quarterback approach to it and just go,
oh, absolutely.
2 years down the road, be like, man, what are we? And don't get me wrong. Like, I've had those conversations with people where people are like, what are we doing? Like, Baker's balling out. I'm like, sucks. So I made a decision, you know, Lord. But I don't know. It's very easy when there's a terrible quarterback situation on your team to look at the guy that was there for, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and go, man, look what we could have done with him. Look what we could have done if we would have done this or drafted this guy.
Dude, I could say right now, we should have drafted Mike Evans. We didn't.
Oh,
sure. We stupid Browns.
How many
come on.
Carolina Panther fans out there are crying every day about, oh, we never should have got rid of Sam Darnold. Look what he's doing. He would have been doing that here. No, he wouldn't. He would never do that in Carolina. That is a great of a quarterback with a skill set and a coach who knows how to use it and get the most out of it. I mean, KOC is the man. I love that guy. And now you're seeing Sam Darnold have success. In Carolina, no. It would never
guys
happen.
that and I don't. Tampa Bay, I think, has like probably a pretty good environment around. But you're taking guys that were in bad situations as far as Carolina, even Cleveland. I'll say it, and you're setting them up for success. You're putting them in an environment, a winning fan base environment, and then you're putting them with guys that are going. So you like to do. Let's focus on that. Now, hey, offense out, and let's see what sticks on the wall when we throw. That's pretty much where we're at. I mean, it's,
I mean, that's what Freddie originally did to get his job, and he went back on it. But I mean, again, we'll look back a couple of years ago, spilled milk at this point. So,
I mean, the long track record of poor quarterback decisions, poor coaching decisions, poor GM decisions. I don't know why people are so shocked whenever this kind of stuff happens, other than the fact that the expectations were high for this season and we didn't just come up short. We didn't even, like you guys said, just like we didn't even start the season, and everything has just really fallen apart. But I do want to mention before we wrap things up, there are 3 guys that got Pro Bowl starter nominations this year, and it was Myles Garrett, Jerry Jeudy, Denzel Ward. So congratulations to those guys. Yeah. We did get 3 starters in the Pro Bowl. Those guys are all well-deserved.
Well-deserved.
Sure.
Well-deserved.
And then the next names, the alternates, maybe we can talk about this a little bit. So you got Joel Bitonio. Okay. Joel, he's a great, solid guard. Corey Bojorquez, awesome punter. I think he's very deserving. JOK, he only played half the year. I'm not really sure why he got a Pro Bowl alternate. It's not like he can go play. Wyatt Teller, right. And then David Njoku and Nick Chubb were named as alternates. I didn't understand this because I felt like David Njoku didn't have a very good season. And Nick Chubb played a couple games, didn't play very well.
Yeah.
And I immediately posted on Twitter. I said, oh man, they gave him the honorary Tyler Huntley Pro Bowl alternate award. Like what? No, don't give Nick Chubb a participation handout trophy. Come on.
Yeah, it seems odd to me, especially with all the alternatives that are on offense. And our offense is what, 27th, 30th overall? We're like, where do we sit?
It's got to be at least
with the
31st.
Yeah, with the way that we graded out, I'm not sure why these are the selections, unless it's like they asked a bunch of notes, the guys that are left over. And I'm not taking anything away. Like they're
right. Yeah.
Like going in through an NFL season and just getting through and having that recognition is great. It's just as bad as our offense was. I'm just kind of wondering what the thought process is versus a couple, maybe let's say Njoku, for example, a couple other tight ends ahead of them, right? Like, or better stats. Maybe I just got to do a better job of looking up because I'm just like learning the alternates right now. But it's just kind of a little perplexing.
I don't know. Like, there's probably guys that had good running back seasons, and I'm not taking a shot at Nick Chubb. He's a fan favorite, but like, Josh, do you have the running backs that got in just from the other teams, or because I'm thinking like even like a Dobbins, like missed 4 games, but had a better season than Nick Chubb. Like, and I don't know if he's on that list. I would there's a lot of guys I'm thinking that are probably going to be.
I mean, like Madison from the Raiders probably had a better season. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
bro, I know.
And I'm not, again,
it's not a knock.
It's not a knock. I'm just trying to think of fantasy guys off the top of my head.
For the starters for the AFC, it's Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, and Jonathan Taylor. And then let me see if I can see the alternates down here. I don't know if they have those listed. Keep talking. I'll look it up.
All I'll say is I know there's alternates and stuff like that, but like James Cook better be on that list.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
there's definitely, we don't need to go through all the names. I get you guys. I mean, the point is absolutely correct. When I saw that, it did definitely and instantly reminded me of when Tyler Huntley was a Pro Bowl alternate with the Ravens, and he had like 2 or 3 touchdowns on the season, and I think he had more interceptions than touchdowns. And we joke about it all the time, and that's why I really didn't. I wasn't too pleased to see Nick Chubb on there. David Njoku, like these guys didn't earn that, and they know that.
Sure,
it's not a knock on them. It's just that was our season.
Yeah.
But well, is there anything else you guys want to dive into? I know we've kind of exhausted the game talk, the quarterback stuff, but was there any other Browns related things that have been going on that you guys wanted to air it out?
I was just hoping that they wouldn't have this game as a standalone game for everybody to see.
2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row. I mean, as somebody that runs a chapter, I mean, to get everybody together on a Saturday afternoon, it's a little tough. And, you want to always put your best foot forward, especially when your team's playing, and we're just not going to get that. And I'm almost like the NFL setting themselves up for failure as far as like that spot and that time watch. Like, I just feel like they're going to lose money, but who knows?
I don't think so, man. Obviously we'll tune in, but I think most NFL fans will tune in because they're interested in the North battle. I mean, that the story as far as it's like playing out has been pretty, especially like you consider Cincinnati's. They're a team like they win and they get some help and they get in the playoffs. I wouldn't want to go against Joe Burrow in the playoffs right now, the way they're playing. Obviously their defense isn't that great, but my God, that dude is doing Joe Burrow things like he always does this time of the year. I think it makes for very, very compelling, stories, and I will watch only because I want my kids to make fun of me. Talk about how my team stinks.
Yeah, it's going to be a very rough Saturday afternoon, early evening for everybody. But the bright side is around 7:30, 8 o'clock, the season is officially over. We can put it behind us. Thank God, no more of this garbage to watch this year. And we will have our top 3 pick if the Patriots and or Titans decide that they're going to beat the teams that they're playing. I think the Patriots are playing the Bills, who are resting all their starters, and the Titans are playing the Texans, who said they're going to play some of their starters for maybe like the first half or so. Who knows? These are divisional battles. Maybe those teams, one of those teams can pull out a win. We move into top, 2 in the draft order, but we'll see how it goes. Something to watch for in that regard. Other than that, it's just bring on Black Monday, baby. I cannot wait to see who gets fired. And if Ken Dorsey is not the first name that pops up on the notification on my phone, I'm going to be pissed off to no end. It better happen, and it better happen quick. Who else do you guys want to see get fired real quick? I mean, seriously.
Not Kevin. Okay. Obviously. Not Kevin. Every game we lose, I get a little more nervous. I'm like, I really hope this isn't I hope they weren't bluffing us and they're just axing both these guys, because we've been through this every 2 or 3 years for 30 years now.
What about Bubba?
Man, I don't know. It's tricky because I feel like there's been so many just like miscommunication plays on special teams, a lot of just blown plays where like guys are running it back 40, 50 yards. Dustin Hopkins, I think that's just, he's got yips. He's got stuff going on outside, out in life, which is the most important thing. Everything else is irrelevant. You got other stuff going on, but it's just, I don't know, man. Like, where do you go though from there?
What do you think happens to the guy in New Orleans? I mean, he seems to have the team together. Yeah. If he gets let go, he's a special teams coach. I mean, I'd give something needs to shake up.
He's a fiery guy.
Yeah, I think you got to clear out the offense. I don't know, man. It's been 5 years, and you've had 2 seasons of 11 wins. The rest have been like meh, and this one's complete garbage. Yeah. It's you're going in a downward trend. It's almost like you just need to restart the whole thing. And again, I'm not saying I dislike Stefanski. I've always liked him. He's my favorite coach since '99 for certain. And but I just don't see us getting any better next year. But that's me desperate at the end of the year, not seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. So, I'll save it and see what happens and just go from there. Just roll with the Browns, bleed brown and orange, baby. Let's go.
Yep. Bleed that brown and orange. So everybody tune in on Saturday. Let's see what pick we get, because we are going to get smoked by the Ravens. It's going to be brutal. So just prepare. Let's just have fun with it. Laugh, joke, hang out with your buddies, your family, and just say, look how bad these guys are. Oh my gosh, Bailey Zappe just got destroyed for the 6th time.
What about if Bailey Zappe throws for like 365 and we win? Are you going to be more disappointed at that performance or a crappy overall team performance and we get blown out?
I won't even know what's going on, because I will be in a passed out comatose state on the floor, just like because I you know what I mean? I would be so
just Saturday
blown away that I probably fell over and hit my head, and that's it. I'll wake me up on Sunday and
it'll be a party with my crew if that happens, man. That's for sure.
It's not going to happen.
Downtown loggers all the way, man.
All day.
Anybody sitting around going, well, maybe Zappe's the guy. Just smack him in the face. And
I need smack, man. I'm needing something, bro.
He is he's the sacrificial lamb for the Browns in this game against the Ravens is what he is. It's like, okay. Maybe DTR's got a little bit of the calf injury or whatever, because he's always hurt and they don't want to completely destroy his body before they cut him, so that way he can enjoy the rest of his life. Here you go, Bailey. Have fun. So Ravens 20-point favorites on the Browns Saturday at 4:30. Hang out with us on social media. I'm sure we'll be talking about it. And if you want to hang out in the game thread on our Discord, which is a lot of fun, it's where all the Dog Pack members hang out. We talk through the game the whole time. So if you just want to vent or be with other Browns fans wherever you are in the world, it's jointhedogs.com. Get in there now, and then hang out with us during the whole off season, and we'll be talking draft and prospects and all that fun stuff as soon as this week is over. So we'll be back with you guys on we haven't decided yet, either Sunday or Monday, one of those 2 days after the game. We'll do our reaction show and just start moving into the off season. So everybody enjoy the weekend, have a great time, stay safe, and let's go draft pick.
Rough guys. Let's go.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedogspodcast.com.